Hey everyone, my name is Johnny or JWG. In today's video we're going to be briefly introducing you to the wonderful and muddy world of Dirt Rally by Codemasters. Before we dive into it, I hope you're all doing great today, and if you could all be so kind as to spread the word about my channel, that would be greatly appreciated. With all that out of the way, let's dive into the world of Dirt Rally. I know I'm a bit late to the party since the game's been out 18 months on PC and nearly 5 months on console. However, that's given me enough time to have a look around, a bit of a play, and really let you in on the nitty-gritty of the game as a whole, rather than just some bits of pre-access content here and there. In my opinion, there's still a whole lot more to come with this game, both on PC and console, and I would not be surprised if we see a whole lot more content hitting our screens and rigs right in the near future. So from the top, when you launch the console version of the game for the first time, it does take you through a quite lengthy installation process, wherein you'll have all the content stored on the disc transferred to the game, unless you brought it digitally, in which case it will launch you straight into a demo rally as you're waiting for the overall game to install. When the install is complete, you're presented with the main menu, and for those who played Dirt 1, 2 and 3, you'll be really pleased to see that the cumbersome menu system from those games have been replaced with a quite welcome tiles interface, with each section laid out in a very simple fashion. You have sections such as championships, leagues, single event and others related to Codemasters RaceNet services and game preferences. Beyond that, there are sub-menus for those various main menus, which allow you to be quite selective, with the exception of the custom championships, which is only really custom when you get the option to select class, the car, number of stages or events, and that's about it, because if you select the rally option, it randomises the event you do based on the car class you select. Going into the actual gameplay, Codies do give you a warning at the start while you're installing the game. It is intended as a simulation, not as an arcade game, but in terms of gameplay, this is a really solid game based on some really excellent redeeming features which allow you to forgive the colossal balls up that was Dirt 3 and Dirt Showdown, in my opinion, neither of which could be considered as bona fide rally games anyway. There's some really nice visuals there and some amazing stages and locations that have been chosen for the original release, such as Yamset in Finland, Bombholder in Germany and Powys in Wales. All of the stages are one-to-one copies of real stages, and Codemasters have really spent a lot of time accurately mapping the locations of these stages and even the routes themselves. Eagle-eyed rally fans will spot some legendary names such as Sweetland, Guthrie Forest, Rushburg and Kakaristo, all of which are world-famous stages and serve as reason alone for their addition into the game. The actual in-game sounds have been recreated wonderfully, and the game allows you to make modifications on a number of levels. If you're playing a PS4, you can choose to have the pace notes or spotter calls in Rallycross shouted at you through your controller. However, if you're a real rally fan, you'd have these through the TV and blasting down on Emporia with a wheel and pedals. The game HUD is quite a simple affair too. Starting from the bottom right, you have your tachometer, speed and gears, which are customisable to miles per hour or kilometres now depending on where you're from. You have the option to adjust the timing of the pace notes and also even the option to remove the driver's hands from the wheel, and even the wheel itself can be removed to add that bit of extra realism when you have your game hooked up to the rig. On the left side of the screen you'll have your progress indicator, which is a simple white bar broken up with splits. It shows you how far you are into the stage and will flash times at your centre screen upon passing one of the 4 or 8 splits in a rally stage, or 10 for Pikes Peak. The progress bar doesn't appear in Rallycross game modes. In the top left of the screen, nothing usually appears unless you're playing a Rallycross game, in which it will show you the track positions of the progress indicator, and whether or not the AI have jokered or not. So the track positions do come up in place of the progress indicator. In the centre top of the screen, you'll have your pace note arrows in a rally, or a rear view mirror in Rallycross. The pace notes are a very simple affair, using the numbers 1 to 6 to indicate the gear of the corners, as per Colin McRae games of old, and some other information which is useful as you traverse the stages, such as distances and obstacles. Finally, on the top right, you'll have your stage time difference to the AI, and split times in a rally, or lap time and total time in a Rallycross. For Pikes Peak, this is again classed as a stage time. Driving in Dirt Rally is sometimes considered a difficult affair because it's a simulator pure and simple. If you're running a sim on a console, you want to run it with a wheel and pedals or a racing rig as a whole. I've had 4 months with it on the console PS4 with a controller, and it is one of the most difficult to play racing games with a controller I've ever come across. But I begrudge it this, as it is, after all, a sim game. If you don't listen to your co-driver and his pace notes, then you will have a big accident if you don't know the stages. Even 4 months on, I still have the occasional crash, and it still angers me, as I believe myself to have the knowledge of most of the German, Finnish and British stages. Greece, Sweden and the Monte Carlo stages on the other hand are, however, another story. In Greece, if you let yourself overcook things, you will crash. Sweden is a nightmare, as if you even lightly brush your car with a snowbank with your car's front end, the snowbank will eat you, and you'll spend the next half an hour blindly swearing at the screen and trying to get back on track without using the restore option, which will give you penalty time if used. Monte Carlo is always unpredictable and can, if done right, be an excellent rally to play. Warnings about ice in the road and full ice from here from your co-driver should not go unheeded, as you'll be left no time to brake and likely smash into a cliff and die, smash into a parked car, then a cliff and die, smash through a flimsy fence, off the road, down a 1,000 foot ravine and die, or smash off a snowbank at a hairpin, usually backwards, go off road, die, not be able to recover due to death, and then have the rally be retired due to an unrecoverable car. The cars themselves are widely varied, from 60s classics like the Mini, Lancia HF Fulvia and the Alpine Renault, through the 70s with the Escort R8 1800, Stratos and the Abarth Fiat 131. Then into the 80s you've got the rear-wheel drive BMW, Sierra Cosworth and Renault 5 Turbos, all an absolute pig to drive. The rear-wheel drive Group B cars are ones to just totally avoid, especially the Lancia 037, as the moment you put your foot down on the loose you're going to spin wildly out of control, burst into flames, in person not on the game, and then die. The Manta 400 in this class shouldn't have been classified as Group B, as it wasn't competing against the 037 at any point. Then we move on to the 4WD Group B cars. Big names here are the Ford Escort RS200, the MG Metro 6R4, Peugeot 205 T16 Evo 2, Audi Quattro and the Lancia S4. Make no mistake, Group B cars, even when driven by legends such as Toivonen, Kankkunen and Vatanen, are absolute B-stars to drive, and moreover almost result in a certain death trap. Remember Henry Toivonen and Attilio Bottega, both killed in Lancia's cars in 1985 and 1986, both raced in Group B, both killed in Corsica, and both leading to the demise of Group B rallying as a whole. This is a well established in rally circles fact, and so driving Group B should be undertaken with extreme care. Onto the cars themselves from this class. The Audi has a non-existent first gear, so you always have to ratio it higher than you need to eke the performance you need from it. The Metro is too underpowered to even compete with the Audi or Peugeot and has non-existent brakes. The Ford is well balanced but just too sensible, has terrible brakes and nightmarish turbo-like. The Peugeot's pitfalls are ridicule-worthy indeed. It's a great car, don't get me wrong, but the brakes barely work unless you're using them 4 miles before the corner you're intending to brake for and subsequently die. And the turbo lag is so horrendous that all the power is delivered in one monstrous chunk right at the very top of the rev range, so driving it any slower than 100% is impossible. The handling is too go-kart-like for rallying, and the visibility from the cockpits is atrocious. The Lancia is just a no-go area. With its turbo and supercharged engine, you're definitely not short of power, but it comes with its colossal downside: infinite risk of death. Why? This car has no brakes. Not a smidgen. You put your foot on the quiet pedal and it tries to slow you down, but nowhere near enough for it to be effective. It's little wonder people actually died in real life driving this car. Next up, we move on to the 90s Group A cars, which made me feel like a gawping young child all over again. This is the era of rally I grew up around, and seeing the Ford Escort Cosworth, Subaru Impreza 555s and the Lancia HF Integrales on the stage, even today, is pure magic. I'll review the cars more separately in another video. Along with 90s cars, we're treated to the front-wheel drive Formula 2 kit cars, which are full of power and potential, but being front-wheel drive, have difficulty translating it to the road anywhere other than on tarmac. Those are the Peugeot 306 Maxi and the Seat Ibiza kit car. Next up we have the R4 class, otherwise known as Group N, the showroom class. We're given the option of the Mitsubishi Evo 10 and the Subaru Impreza SCCA Group N car. I'd avoid these if you're serious about winning titles. The next class was one included for all who grew up around my generation, the 2000 World Rally cars. First up is the McRae-inspired Ford Focus World Rally car from 2001 in Ford's Francois Delacour livery, but bearing the name of Colin McRae and Nicky Grist. The next car was an iconic machine, the Subaru Impreza World Rally 2001, with a full works livery and bearing the number 5, that of the late Richard Burns, who won the title in that year in this car. Moving on, we have the Ford Focus RS World Rally 2007. Again, there's no official liveries here, but one for local rally enthusiasts bearing the Perez name on the front bumper and sporting the Kickstart livery he used that season. Finally, we see the Citroën C4 WRC from 2010. No official liveries here, just a red and white plain car, but still a nice addition. The next class is the 2010's World Rally cars, and there are no surprises here. We see the Ford Fiesta RS World Rally car, the Hyundai i20, the VW Polo R in 2012 Sebastian Ogier livery, and the Mini Countryman World Rally car. While underpowered with their 1.6 litre engines, these are still fun to drive on the stages. Next, we move on to the Rallycross cars. In this, you have one classic car, the Mini Cooper, two 1600 Rallycross cars, the Opel Corsa and the Renault Clio, and a plethora of Rallycross supercars, including the Citroën DS3, Peugeot 208, Ford Fiesta RX, Subaru Impreza RX, and the Volkswagen Polo RX. The final class of cars in the game is the hill climb cars, used exclusively on Pikes Peak, and in this class there are just 4 options. The classic Peugeot 205 T16, the Audi Quattro S1 hill climb, and the Peugeot 405 T16 make up the classics. While rounding off this class, we have the Sebastian Loeb's Peugeot 208 hill climb car from 2012 making up the modern set. Overall, it's nice to see that Codemasters have put so much effort into the game. However, once all the stages have been played a few times, they become ingrained into your memory, as there are only 2 main stages per rally, broken into 2 short sections per stage, and with the option to run them in reverse under different names. I hope that Cody's come to add more content to all formats of its game as it goes along, and don't seek to abandon the offline functionality as a lot of games have in this day and age. Paid DLC packs are definitely a considerable possibility, and some corrections can afford to be made where the pace notes are concerned, as some have incorrect notes and some are totally missing. I'll be covering this in more detail over the next couple of videos, and even going as far as rewriting and recording the pace notes on a video playthrough as well. Overall though, this game is a solid effort and really does strike a chord or two with fans of the old Colin McRae games, as well as Richard Burns Rally, and it is a good competitor to beat what is now effectively abandonware, save a few mods. To round this off, I'm going to give my ratings on the game, broken down by section and score, with a little bit of information about pros and cons thrown in for good measure. For the graphics, I'm giving DiRT Rally a solid 9.5 out of 10. Even on console, there is no stuttering of the frame rate. The visuals are gorgeous, and they've really done well to recreate the interiors of most of these cars, and also the locations that they're being driven in. The only downside is occasional texture glitching when driving the Peugeot 306 Maxi. For the sounds, I'm giving DiRT Rally a solid 10 out of 10. There is literally no way to fault the sounds with the possible exception of missing pace notes, as all of the sounds of rallying have been faithfully recreated, paying attention to all the aspects like tyre noise, engine noise, road noise, and many other areas too. For the content, I'm giving DiRT Rally 8.4 out of 10. The reason for this is because, while there's plenty to tide you over in the game, there's not enough. And when you finally have mastered all the cars and stages, you're left with nothing to do on the game apart from online leagues and championships. For sure, the promotion and demotion model works well, and the ability to flick between tiers of racing as you go along is nice, but they could have added a lot more stages, a few more cars, and the option to have official liveries on cars of old whose teams no longer exist. For the gameplay, I'm giving DiRT Rally 9.5 out of 10. The game itself is very involving, giving you the option to set up and repair cars, hire mechanics with perks, earn a lot of credits and also parts for your cars that you already have. But if you're playing with a control pad, there is just no way of being able to play the game properly, even for a seasoned sim racer. For the realism, I'm giving DiRT Rally 10 out of 10, because every aspect of rallying in the real world is there, from the real life stages to the real life cars, and Codemasters even took the time to record the pace notes with a real code driver, recording them through a D-box attached to his helmet. There's even the ability to rise through the ranks offline and compete against the world online, and also a PvP lobby allowing you to directly compete on rallycross events. So overall, this leaves me to say that DiRT Rally is easily Codemasters' best title to date, and given time and oodles of new content, may even surpass Richard Burns Rally as the #1 rallying simulator. I can forgive Codemasters for their indiscretion of including showboating driving as a core model of the game like they did in DiRT 3, because they've gone back to basics in this one and given it a new lease on life in a market that at present is really rather subjective. Overall, DiRT Rally will get a 9.6 out of 10 from me. With all that out of the way, I hope you enjoyed this introduction to DiRT Rally. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like down below. If you didn't, hit it with a thumbs down. I think you know there's any areas that I can improve on. I always welcome feedback via the comment section right down below too. Please subscribe to my channel if you're new, or if you like gaming videos just like this one. In my next video, I'm going to be giving a rundown of my sofa rig and everything attached to it, and a brief intro to the equipment I use to record and edit my footage. Thanks again for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.